We're live. Rob, check your mic. I think you're on the PC. Let's do this.
If you're sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. All coins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more solves.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. I don't like travel, but I like to be places. So we'll get through it. Yeah, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Welcome back, everybody, to DeltaFi on Thursday this week. Look at that. It's already Thursday. That means tomorrow's Friday, end of the week. Lots of action today in the market. An attempted, possibly fat-fingered rollover on Bitcoin here, but it looks like the buyback has been incredibly strong on what could be a generational buy level. In retrospect, we're going to find out soon. We've got Rob Levy to my right, your left. We've got Crypto Messiah hanging over there, and we've got Gunny coming in. Few minutes late today, but he will be flying in somewhere in the 10-15 minute mark, so you can look forward to that. How you doing today, guys?
Doing good.
Yeah, we're doing great. You know, it was a bit scary, for a second, and I wasn't even watching the charts. I actually had my trading view window minimized at the time, and all of a sudden every single post on Twitter was like, holy shit. So immediately in my head, because right now we're still at that iffy moment, like, oh my God, dog coins are pumping. We still have that PTSD from May earlier this year when, the dog coins pumping ended up being like this bad omen, or at least people labeled it that way. So, everybody's a little on edge right now in that regard. Are we going to make it? Are we not going to make it? Like, is Bitcoin going to 100K right now? Are we going to pull back a bit? What's actually going to be happening? So, I see Twitter light up like crazy, and I was just like, oh, fuck, are we getting nuked right now? I looked at it, and for a second, my heart just skipped a beat, and I was like, holy shit, that looks insane. But as you see right now, like
the buyback,
it's been a huge recovery. I know, Rob, you had some thoughts on that. Everybody has their suspicions. Is it somebody trying to trigger a margin cascade? Is there some kind of news that people don't know? What do you think about that?
This to me looks like either a fat finger or an algo gone wrong, which to me specifically in Bitcoin, because there was a weird reaction like right on the hop on altcoins, like in the alt BTC pairs. Like the alts they kind of even ticked up a little bit. They didn't move. And to me, this looked like a Bitcoin centric error by somebody, whether it was a machine or a fat finger, I don't know. But
Coach Popovic saw a bunch of people saying it was a $250 million fat finger, wherever that data came from.
Yeah, I mean that's so.
Sign
then
support.
If you sell 250 million Bitcoin on a fat finger, are you going to immediately buy that 250 million back? Are you going to be like, oh, all right, let's see, maybe we'll see.
This price action is insane. Just as you said that, it dropped like $900 in a candle. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this 1 minute. Just somebody just went.
It's not a good day to be a high leverage guy. How about that?
No.
It doesn't. I mean, look at this. It doesn't really matter which side you're on. After a market sell like that, I'm sure there were trapped shorts down there.
I mean, this is where you want to fill. You see, you get a consolidation, high time frame support, move up, get a reload zone, fill it up here, but instantly stopped out. I don't have a setup there that wouldn't have got busted. Somebody might, but I don't know. Unless what did we get? Yeah, like if you're hiding below like 57,500 and you're just lucky enough to pick a round number like that, but not my cup of tea. Like if you zoom out and you look at the daily and you just think, where are we in a market cycle? Where are we? In space as far as this chart goes, like this is the resistance that really marked the highs. Yeah, we had Coinbase listing, a bit of a divergence from that, and then we dumped through it. But this 60K, 59K, like that was really the level. And so we're on top of it now. We just tested it on what felt pretty dark. I think a lot of altcoins hit the bid or, hit the ask to freak people out yesterday and the day before, like enough that it felt really bearish. But you zoom out, have this level on the chart for a few weeks now. And like, we're at the level. So we've got to bounce here or we're going to probably look
close
a little
here.
lower.
I think that looks pretty good.
It looks really bullish.
Yeah.
I actually, I think we fucking moon it. I don't know.
I mean, what was
Rob's
that
looking
the
at that chart
final-
like it's Riley Reid.
What was that the final, hey, let's trap some fucking bears here. Like, let's make some noise. Let's trap some bears. Let's collect this rocket fuel that we need to really kind of propel us to the upside or like I don't know. Like, but that, to me, I see that chart and that just looks really good. I don't really see these macro moves ending in double tops in crypto. It hasn't been something that's happened before. Typically you get up to those all-time highs again, especially after a nice correction, and you're looking at some kind of continuation. I'm not saying it has to happen right now, but I think that the odds are in the favor, of this going up at some point, and probably soon. Next month, December, who knows? But it doesn't really matter. Sit around.
Look,
$100,000 Bitcoin.
I mean, it's going to move fast because markets have this way of like once the cat's out of the bag, there's when there's less indecision, right? I mean, we're at a huge level, so you're going to get through all-time highs. You're going to pull back. There's an argument happening. Once this argument is won, in other words, in this case, I guess once we make a new local high, it's teleport time. And because at that point, what are you going to sit there at 70K if you're some whale and say, I'm going to wait for 60 again? Like, I think the debate ends around this level, back up around these highs. So if we break these highs, I would expect like 1-2 weeks, we're already up at 85. We've got fib extension on the high time frames at 100. I still am of the belief that we don't stop at 100. I think it would be a weird thing for everyone to be like, yeah, 100K. I mean, it's like 10K in 2017. It just feels like a really silly level for everyone to agree on. Let's all just sell here or short, So for what it's worth, if we touch anywhere around 100, I think we're going much higher. But that's just a random take. I just seems too easy to just sit at 100 and or 92 or 130. That's really where I'm at. But it's going to move fast if we move up from here. Having said that, we are at risk of a trend reversal here locally. Technically speaking, if we put fundamentals into play, I just don't see it in any kind of broad sense. And maybe test some levels very close by, but this just looks too good. It looks too strong. And then fundamentally, it's Q4, it's Bitcoin. There's just a lot of juice. There's like a new pension fund every day this week basically feels like is buying the dip. El Salvador bought 420 more Bitcoins, lol. I
love how they like getting into the meme.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think what today reminds me of, you can never, ever, ever get too comfortable. I don't think in any market, but especially this one, the liquidity, it can vanish quickly, and this thing can move literally instantaneously to where people are scared and make dumb decisions based on that. I mean, clearly, I have
that volume.
I looked at Gunny. I was like, was there news? Like, gotta be news. Something just came out. I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, something just happened. The stuff's really going haywire.
The volume is sick. The one thing I did take away from this when it first came out, and I don't usually zoom into the 5 minutes, but when you see a dump like that, and for anyone watching who hasn't really figured out or wants to learn more about analyzing volume, you see a move like this, watch the buyback, right? And this, it tells a story here, which is, okay, small amount of selling, huge amount of buying at high time frame support. The spring was strong. And so as much as I'd like to say, yeah, I'm going to get long here because that was such an incredible buyback, that risking against that low now becomes a fairly good bet. As far as like taking risk in the market, there's always going to be some risk, but I love laying risk against a low that was made like that with that kind of buyback. Fuck
yeah. Can you look at the Binance? Is that Binance right there? Or is that Coinbase? What is that?
That's FTX here. Let me get up Binance Tether.
Like I'd love to see, and we need a real sleuth here. See how the dump, that's what.
Yeah.
So you see where the most action took place just by looking at the volume on the dump and the buyback. So we see that on Coinbase, people actually got in there and started trying to buy physical coin after that dump, that presumably on derivatives or whatever it was. But there was this guy Nanex, this guy who lived in the Chicago area that I used to follow on Twitter. I should check it out, but he really had the best kind of visuals of order by order, tick by tick market stuff. I'd like to see where this order initiated by the tick. I want to see where the fucking sell order hit, and you could look at it by microsecond, millisecond, and see where the culprit.
That's true.
was.
Well, and that's true. And Alex Sturck said something right here. He said, amazingly coordinated across all markets. And that's kind of what you're talking about, Rob, because what we see here is lots of selling on Binance. Maybe we'll go for a 4-pane thing. We'll see if we can spot it. And then lots more like chasing, it looked like, over on FTX,
Well,
which is just algos, right? It's ARBs. It's like saying, okay, you're really cheap on Binance. We're gonna buy it there, and then we're gonna sell some on FTX. And that's, for anyone who doesn't know, that's why the markets just seem to move incredibly close to each other, because there's just bots everywhere keeping it balanced. It's a blessing and a curse. But let's go see. This Binance, this FTX. Yeah, let's get into that 1 minute. We could even go greasy and get the 10-second chart up. But let's play detective, because I'd love to see what you see in this, Rob. I mean, what information do you take away? You say, okay, I spotted, who did this. What do you get from that?
You try to understand where it initiated. If it was, on a spot market, a derivative market, if it was a fat finger, it could be a lot of desks. If they want to fill a big order, they have algos programs where it will send the order out to multiple exchanges at once. So it could be like a coordinated type of just selling. It could be, a fat finger on one, on one exchange. But we technically should be able to see, if you're really getting granular on the data, where that first sell order came in. And it is always interesting to see, where does that buyback really come in?
The selling certainly looks the strongest on Bitfinex and Binance. And then the buyback was really strong on Coinbase and FTX.
Yeah. What does that mean? Does that mean the person who sold it?
I would imagine they were on the one with the seller, yeah. And
but then are they chasing it? You never know.
Because this selling looks like ARB. It's like lower volume. It's just catching up. It's not like the nuke.
Yeah, there was a little issue the other day, and I kind of thought it was an Alameda issue, and I think it proved to be where their algo. Now we don't know if it was a trigger anytime Bitcoin goes down 80%, but when we got that $8,000 print on Binance US, there was activity in some spot markets that it kind of seemed like it was Alameda, where their systems reacted by dumping a lot of spot, and it's pretty much, I think, known that it was an Alameda issue the other day. I don't know if we're going to figure out who this
14:38:45. This is the 5-second chart. So I mean, we're into the grease here. Any closer, we'd be on the 1 second. 2 fat candles on Bitfinex, 35, 45, 55. So it looks like Bitfinex led this one. Excuse me. Like the fat orders came in on Finex at a guess here. No, yeah, actually 10 seconds earlier it started on Binance. So it does look like Binance is the culprit, for whatever that means. But
yeah. But there's guys
like, interesting.
There's guys who will be able to really dig in and get in there and see where that first order came from. We'll see it, I'm sure, within probably by the time the show ends.
Don't you love that though? You can just count on someone on Twitter to be like, hey, so here's the story behind that anomalous price action today. Yeah. So we'll let them dissect it. Other than that, what else are you guys seeing in the market this week?
Oh,
Metaverse?
I mean, fuck, it's bullish. Like, look, I gotta say, and I was dead ass wrong about this. There's people in May saying that like, oh my God, dog coins are pumping, like the end is nigh, the end is nigh. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? Like alt season, like things always get crazy when dog coins start to pump. It's like the harbinger of alt season, what's to come. People have even used it as an indicator that alt season is about to begin. And of course, that wasn't the case at all, right? We all got fucking wrecked after that. At least I did. But the interesting thing here is that in the past, it has been that. In 2017, things like Dogecoin were a sign that you have this influx of new retail participants. They get rich on the dog money, and then they say, hey, I'm kind of got this crypto itch now. How can I scratch this? Where am I going to allocate? Where am I going to roll these gains?
Rotator.
Yeah, where I'm going to be a rotator now. I need to find something else to where I turn $200 into $1,500 or whatever. And where can I put my $1,500 to turn it into $20,000? And all of that money just kind of trickles down into everything else in the ecosystem. So to be quite honest, I don't know how the market plays out from here. I don't think anybody does. But Bitcoin looks really bullish. We are seeing these dog coins pumping. It could be either the beginning or the end. I'm not really sure. But look, everything in the market right now looks really bullish. You've got this ridiculous fucking dump on Bitcoin. Scoop the fuck up. You've got DeFi coins that are considered, incumbent DeFi 1.0 OG coins like Curve that are outperforming Ethereum. And that's something that hasn't happened for a very, very, very long time. So you know what? Maybe this is the beginning of the end. Maybe it's premature. Maybe people are buying these DeFi coins and marking them up because they anticipate something that's not going to happen. I just don't know. But me personally, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about where we're headed.
Yeah, I do too. I'm holding on to my Q4 bullish thesis, and I'm not writing off a 2022 bullish thesis. I think that would be silly to do, just saying, 4-year cycle, we have to. Look, everything we know historically doesn't always repeat, often rhymes, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we're coming into the end of a 4-year cycle, and I'm absolutely on the side of, can I get more conservative in my exposure through whatever we see in the next few months? I will be. But I'm not going to write off next year as like a guaranteed bear market. It has to be the same. I think that that's, doing myself a disservice. It's just about like, how am I going to allocate to make sure that if it is, I don't sit there and go, fuck, I should have known. It always happens that way. So a bit of both. You can see the DeFi perp here has broken through the downtrend from September, confirmed bullish market structure on the side. Little dump yesterday, this week, obviously, and that was really just a retest. It looks good. It looks really good. And this is what I was speculating in the summer, what a DeFi bull run would look like. So if we break these highs, locally, 14,000 on this perp, more of an index. I mean, I don't trade this thing, but it's giving us a flavor of what DeFi is doing right now. And
how about this? The little. By the way, Gunny might be trying to get in, Colin. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Gunny, I sent you the link to your Telegram, man.
I sent him the link, but I don't know if you need to. But here's something. The other day, and this was just it was nutty. But you see the 1-inch and Aave moves, like simultaneously, even when the market overall was dumping. And you're like, what the hell got into these two things? And it looked odd. And I guess it ended up being an upbit listing for 1-inch and Aave, which that's what I read. But I was like, what on earth is going on here? I mean, we pull up the chart for 1-inch and Aave, and you're going to see candles that, like, they make you just literally it was insane.
I remember that during the shenanigans that night, and I was like, what the hell are Aave and 1-inch doing? It turns out it was.
Is that your noise, Rob?
No, it was my imitation.
We're getting close.
It was my imitation of you imitating the Batman gif.
Look. Okay. So
is.
My wife is going to be Catwoman, for Halloween. So I was like, oh shit, I forgot to, I procrastinate. I was like, I forgot to order my my costume. So, I get on the internet on this quest to find a Batman costume, and look, it's fucking impossible. Anything that doesn't just look like fucking fucking pajamas is very, very difficult to source. And I don't want to just show up in fucking spandex. Like,
I did that one year. It worked out.
now. I've been sitting on my ass every day. Like, nobody wants to see that. But I finally found the costume, and the mask came in. It's really tight, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's really hot because it's just like it's like a straight rubber like BDSM style like Batman mask. But I put it on, and that was my first like impulse. But hey, you've got to.
It tickled me. It really did. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad it tickled you. I got a spammer in the chat. That's nice.
Yeah, seeing that, I got him.
I guess we made it.
Yeah, we got him. It's funny you got a Batman costume because that's the last thing I dressed up for Halloween in 2019.
Badass, dude.
I did the gray spandex. I did the old school. What's his name? Adam West. But trying to rent like the sick new Batman thing, like even the rentals are booked a year in advance. So book now for 2022. I'm gonna do that actually. We'll have a big old Halloween party next year.
Wow. I mean,
Gunny.
You gonna rent that thing or you gonna buy it?
Well, you're gonna rent it. It's like $100. You have it for the night. What do you need a Batman costume for?
What are you talking about? I'm gonna be wearing mine around all the fucking time.
That's what it was.
Batman suit.
You can get the real movie one. It's like the same shit he wore in the movie.
Look, guys, this is an amazing opportunity to perpetually embarrass your significant other. And I can't see why you wouldn't take advantage of that. If you made it in crypto, spend a few $100. You spend $1,000 on an NFT, you spend a few $100 on a Batman costume, and just go out there and get after it. Who gives a fuck? I'll wear this shit in public.
The Adam West one is fucking baller because it actually is like a real bodysuit. It's not like it doesn't have like fake like beach muscles.
No, it was like a tight it was like a onesie, gray spandex onesie. I put it on. Everyone, we had a good time.
Gotta live with what's.
You mean you'd rather have the dad bod Batman? If I'm rocking that,
I want the jacked one, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not choosing dad bod Batman. They're gonna be like, who is this fucking guy? Like, who are you?
I mean, my goodness, man.
Yeah, that's classic.
That's certainly a hot take.
Well, he's clearly very, very favorable on his physique. So
I'm going
You're feeling yourself right now, aren't you?
I'm going to a baby shower this Halloween, so that's dad life for me. But I did get one for the little man. Nice. I'll give you one guess. It's an animal.
I hope it's not a bear.
Is he a frog or an ape?
Fuck yeah, bud.
He's a frog.
Oh yeah, the newest member of Frog Nation. I'm so excited to do the big reveal.
Go.
This is the semi-reveal. We'll do a big one once he's put it on. It's going to be huge. What do you guys think about Facebook Metaverse?
Interesting.
Stock didn't really react. Some people speculated that the Walter Bloomberg tweet did something to Bitcoin on that, but it seems so unrelated.
I think it's a similar situation to when we saw, Google announce that, hey, we're Alphabet now. But did anything really fucking change? Like, I think it's just like a structural change, like a new umbrella, to where they have several products under that. Of course, Facebook has a really bad name now. Nobody likes Facebook. Fuck Facebook. They've been fucking around and meddling where they shouldn't be meddling for a really long time. So I think it's kind of a non-event, but who knows?
Wait, but did Google or Alphabet, did they kind of like back into the bushes like Homer Simpson on Alphabet? I have not even heard that name for them since like literally years. Like,
ever.
Are they Google again? Like, did they throw it out there as a test? That's insane. So
I mean, it's kind of cool in the sense, I mean, I get it. We're crypto, decentralized, metaverse, all that. That's the way to do it. And everyone's going to shit on Zuck and Facebook for trying to be the metaverse. But from a nerd perspective, I find it kind of fascinating. I mean, if they're going to hire 10,000 devs, if they're going to throw billions of dollars at this VR, augmented reality, like all-encompassing social experience, it might be the best user experience that you can get for that, all the biometrics and weird dystopian shit aside. I'm excited to see what they can build from a purely, tech entrepreneurial kind of spirit. They've definitely just totally dodged or exited the Facebook stuff. And they're just saying, we are Meta. This is actually the Facebook account. They've rebranded it. So I think they're really going hard at it. And it's kind of cool. I can't do virtual reality. I don't know about you guys. I've got the old man's stomach when it comes to like, roller coasters and VR. So
I think we don't really know what's going to happen with this metaverse stuff. It's going to probably get a lot crazier than we can even imagine in 10, 20 years. So I don't know.
What happened?
All these cameos on Twitter right now are just, they're cracking me up. The latest fad, of course, is Hard Rock Nick. For those
is that the dude that has the
14 bank accounts, 16 houses. He's got $370 million net worth, 75 million in the bank.
Is that the guy with the eyebrows?
Yeah.
The called out loom dart today? Yeah.
Yeah. Where am I? And where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank God the Island Boys are out. Like,
what do you mean they're out?
Those guys are like nightmare stuff.
No, it just means like the Island Boys are out. It just means like, that trend has died. Like the new flame, the new flex is this Hard Rock Nick. And he is just, he's a character.
His eyelashes are incredible.
It's fucking ridiculous.
They'll say whatever you ask them to say, right?
Dude, this guy costs $30 fucking. He'll say whatever you want him to, and he's ridiculous. Like, he's articulate. Like, he'll read whatever the fuck you put there. Like, put emotion behind it. Like, it's just getting hilarious. This has got to be one of my favorite trends I've seen in this bull market, 100%.
So
we need to see it. Is it on your Twitter now?
I've been retweeting pretty much all of them.
Here he goes. Can you guys, if you guys are quiet and we skip the echo, I think I can capture this with audio, system audio. One sec. Let's hear what Nick has to say.
What up, crypto Twitter? Where am I? And where are you? I hear you miss Doge. I hear you miss SHIB. So where are you going is down. Bad, and you're not going to make it. Spell is going to $1. Are you going to fumble that again? Don't let me remind you of my 14 spell account.
No, I think you can. I think you can see that. Okay, system audio capture off. Shouldn't be an echo. All right. Yeah, this guy. I mean, it's maximum cringe. Let's start there. But it's good memes. It's funny.
I just got one question for you, bro. How is Zekbag doing? Also, I want to let you know that you're old and you're fat. And your fake flexing in Dubai caught the attention of everybody, bro, even me. You don't respect the Hard Rock Nick pump? Well, you're going to respect it now.
Oh, yeah.
You never, ever compile the modules. You're always calling other people poor, huh? But I see you flying economy, bro. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, when you have $300 million, what's left then to be popular?
He was calling out Gainsey in that one. Gainsey, of course, who famously never compiled those modules for his developer.
By Peter.
Yeah, he never compiled the modules. Ask him how that ZEC bag, that ZEC bag is doing. These are just fucking ridiculous. And the thing is, they're just $30. So we're basically like Hard Rock Nick, you are a fake flexer. And we are calling you out. And you're fortunate enough to where crypto Twitter has taken an interest in you, and through our generous patronage, you will be able to afford those 14 cars, and you will be able to afford those 16 houses, and you will finally be able to have a balance at all of your 14 bank accounts. Let me tell you this.
For those of you who haven't been around for the last 2 years and you're just tuning in today for the first time, if there's any of you there, this is bull market stuff. Yeah. If you just like got in a time capsule in like September, October 2018 and then woke up today, you'd be like, oh my God, what happened in the last 2 years? Everyone's fighting over who's richer on Twitter. It must be a bull market. Gunny, how the hell are you? I miss you, man. What have you been up to?
You, man.
Give us the grease.
I'm, just doing Hero Network stuff nonstop, and I'm back on this like fucking crazy ass work schedule. So
no kidding, yeah. I work at Hero, and I don't even get to hang out with you. So, frankly, I'm in a different department than Let's Get Ready to Launch. But you guys just did announce something with Hero Network. Let's walk us through that, because that's
we just launched.
I retweeted you. Let me go find it.
The Paramutual Protocol, which is for anyone who's been on our the Hero.trade centralized platform. This is the decentralized stack of what used to be Moonrect, which is actually a pari-mutualized option. We launched that fully on chain on Solana in DevNet a couple days ago, and so it's getting bug fixed and iterated through now, and then it will go to mainnet hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, and then from a roadmap perspective, it's going to go staking. Then we're launching futures and perp swaps, and then early next year will be vanilla options.
All on chain.
All on Solana, all on chain.
Love that. That's exciting. Obviously, I've heard murmurs of this, over the last months. It's nice to get it out there publicly and have it kind of right here on Twitter. So that's really exciting. We've got the Solana conference coming up basically in 2 weeks. I know you guys are going to be over there. Any breadcrumbs for us? You guys, what are you guys expecting from Solana? I'll pull up the chart. I know you guys are still balls long on it, I'm sure, but what do you guys, what's the buzz around this Solana conference?
I don't know.
If any.
It's funny. I was just talking to somebody that they said usually when you go into conferences, like where it used to be, you thought there was going to be some big breakthrough for that conference's token, but oftentimes now they actually have more or less sold off right before the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem to be the case right now because obviously things look pretty damn bullish across the board just from a technical perspective. And obviously with knowing what's being built on Solana and just being deeply involved in the ecosystem there, I do think that it's there's a lot of asymmetric opportunity existing, both just in the underlying token and ecosystem, just Solana as a whole, and then kind of everything that's going on that's being built on top of it. So
beauty. Yeah, it used to be the consensus rally. That was the one thing we clinged to right through the bear market is consensus is coming up, and then we'd have some rallies and consensus would launch and everything would top and roll over. I'm excited to see. I think it would be a letdown if they do host a big conference and do all this and don't save some, pretty cool announcement for that. I think it's hey, everyone, pay attention. Here we are. Save it for that. I'd be slightly let down, but it's not like I'm sitting here I'm going to load up because of the conference rally. But look, it just hit all-time highs. It's come in, tapped the PCZ pretty perfectly, which is a throwback to support. So it would be really hard for me to be okay, the Solana party's over, especially when you have this kind of volume coming out of basically a month and a half consolidation. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm less excited about Solana token itself. I have a bag, but I'm more keen on these the Solana play. Oh. Yeah, what's in it? Let me get that serum. Let me get that radium. All these guys, they're not even close to price discovery yet. So it's almost
right.
Once the Solana eco starts to move, where's the best RR? And I'm looking down here in Oxytown. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff, and it's just just early. Just the market's just so damn early.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Serum sitting here on the reload zone.
There's a lot of buzz. There's going to be a lot of people at the conference. It's just I'm looking forward to it just because I think it's going to be a great energy. I think there's going to be a lot of smart developers, even just they're not even there for the social stuff. They want to work and nerd out.
It's I mean, somebody can debate me on this openly, please, because it's more maybe my lack of knowledge, but I have not seen a blockchain that is doing more in terms of not necessarily short-term opportunity for from an economic or trading perspective, but just doing more to bridge some of the largest traditional whether it's big corporations that are in it doesn't even matter the industry. It could be anything from financial to entertainment to e-commerce. Like they're doing more across the spectrum on Solana. Like I do think it's going to end up being like the rails that that just internet commerce is done on. I'd be shocked. I'm not going to say it's going to be the only one, but I think they're doing more than anybody else right now. In terms of crossover to like kind of the rest of the world. Let's put it that way.
I agree. Yeah, if people are expecting an announcement of $1 billion ecosystem fund, I don't know if they're going to see it coming out of Lisbon. But
it's a great, and if you look at the companies that are building on it, or the companies that are coming to the table to build on it, especially some of the firms that have gotten involved with Hxro now to build out our primitives, like they're just doing a lot to kind of connect the rest of the world to to a lot of what has historically been a lot of experimentation is now really kind of coming through fruition to really really kind of, I hate using this term, but open up funnels for mass adoption. So it's kind of like
SHIB.
a lay low. Yeah, totally.
No.
like Kato or what was the other, Samo?
Samo, Samo coin.
But definitely have heard some whispers of some interesting partnerships that are going to be coming out, and a lot of cool things happening, NFT space, in trading with what we're working on, and then with like payment rails, all of it. It's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody asked in the chat just now, they said, "Are you guys going to host any Hxro events in Lisbon?"
We are. If you want to DM either me or Rob your email address, we are hosting a happy hour on Monday, November 8th with Pith and Serum.
Nice. I get to come, which is super exciting. I haven't traveled since COVID, so yeah.
We have some very special swag we're giving out.
Ooh.
I saw hints of that.
Love the swag
on Twitter, I think. Okay, guys, let's talk markets. Like, what's in front of us? Obviously, chart. We can talk charts because they're easy to look at. But what are you guys seeing in terms of alpha as we get into what could be, and what would be, I would think, a much stronger leg than even this? I mean, typically when you get a trend, it accelerates. So, I mean, how are you guys positioning yourself? We're at high time frame support. We just had an incredible buyback. I mean, I see a 4-hour like that at high time frame support when the jury's out on are we going higher or lower, and you see this candle, I think higher. So what do you guys think position wise? Is it dog season? Are we going to skip the dogs again? Like, what are you guys doing with your portfolios?
What is dogs? Are big dog moves usually like tops, or are they telling us that?
Well, this year it was a top, and that's why everyone is saying like, oh no, the dogs are rallying again. I've missed it again. It's time to, like, last time dogs went crazy, it was like stupid mania.
We know Ledger and Messi drinking beers together is a guarantee.
We told everyone.
That was upsetting. It was really upsetting to see that.
We tried to tell everyone.
It was really painful to watch, but yes.
I took a short on that.
Yeah, and you got paid. You're welcome. I'm glad you listened. Somebody did.
I got paid.
I was disappointed in that. I'm not gonna lie. I had a crazy weekend. I wasn't at my battle station. I see the beer shot when I was on my phone. I was like, oh dear Jesus. One weekend I went away for a day.
Let's be honest though, I did not take a short on that. I don't know the short button when it comes to this market.
No.
But I'll tell you, Ledger, I respect the hell out of the guy, because boy, does he deal with a bunch of reply guy counter trade wizards in his Twitter feed.
I don't know why either, because he's done amazingly well over the last couple of months. He's nailed several, like,
the nicest guy
really
too. He's such a classy, super nice guy. I think it's probably stemming from the banter on Up Only. They like to throw shade at him, like Kobe likes to rip him, and he's kind of like the punching bag. And I think reply guys just get carried away with that. I actually go to his feed to find who I want to block. A lot of the time I just click on his feed and just get all this salt, and I'm like, never have to see that. Like, it's my hobby.
You know what I do? What I love about Ledger's feed, and following it is you can feel the emotion when stuff's not doing what he wants it to do. Like, and that's what I really, really enjoy is like you could
it's honest.
know it. And that I think is what.
There's no LARP there, you know. He'll tell you straight up when he's underwater. You'll know.
But you asked about what we're thinking. I will tell you, and we've talked about the last couple of episodes. I still think there is some hidden alpha in Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, just because of this idea that, okay, we saw the Bitcoin ETF in the United States approved that are based on the CME futures, because that's the only one that the SEC, CFTC could really get behind, because they are fully regulated, the CME futures. So let's look at the bottom line. What's the only other coin with the CME futures? And it's Ethereum. So,
and that could be a long dated play, right? That could be a 2022 play, but it's like,
how do you
plant seeds?
Right. And I mean, I don't know. How do you kind of reject a futures-backed ETF for Ethereum? And if that happens, I think you can get a little bit of juice in the ETH BTC cross. Which first off, look at that. And I was showing like somebody new to crypto today, and we were talking about kind of macro, like more Bitcoin against alts type of activity. And, I pulled up the ETH BTC chart for him and had to explain that, back in the day, most alts just traded against Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin pair was what to look at. And it, when we zoomed out, it just, if this thing decides to break out, there's a good 75% air up there where it can run. So
yeah, let's look at the, I have a zoomed out one, 3-day, I think I called it. Nope. ETH. I have an old one from last year that would be fun. Zoom out. The ETH BTC 3-day zoom out. Let's go see what it is. On the
I actually thought that sell-off or that fat finger in Bitcoin, because the first thing that I noticed when it happened today is that nothing else went with it. And then I started scanning like kind of all the other blue chips. And one thing that was interesting was that like even Solana took a little pipe from it and some of the other big ones. And then ETH was just bid. And so part of me was thinking that maybe it was like an ETH BTC trade that just one leg just got like the liquidity got vaporized on the Bitcoin side somehow.
Well, look, here's the other thing. Okay, CME futures, whatever, maybe get an ETF. Let's not forget about ETH 2.0, right? It was a meme for so long. It's delays or it's just a huge undertaking. They obviously don't want to rush it. I mean, imagine doing something that would hurt the Ethereum network. But it's coming. It's not going to not show up. So does it show up in 2022? And even if that's in Q4, when does that hype train start? And, does it get so ridiculous that it ends up being sell the news because it's so insanely valued? But, even if you miss on the futures and the ETF play, you land somewhere in the ETH 2.0 launch hype. I mean, I'm starting to think I need more ETH. I have zero. I like, other than gas, I don't hold Ethereum, which is weird.
I own Ethereum, but I will tell you, sending transactions on Ethereum sucks. You just, you want to smack yourself. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's a store of value now, as far as I'm concerned. And hey, like whales do play. There's massive, players that will come in and might benefit from what Ethereum has to offer, but it's not going to be your mom and pop like local rest stop for DeFi.
What does it have to offer?
It's tough to say. I mean, every time I play on AVAX daily and a little bit on Solana.
AVAX is way better than Ethereum.
Yeah, and it's the same user experience. I mean, except for that it's better. So,
look, it's not necessarily like, because Ethereum has the network effects, right?
Yeah.
EVM's out there, the Ethereum name's out there. I'm not going to say it's so much about like the user experience at this point. I think it's more about, hey, we're in a bull market. We have these massive network effects. We're still burning a shitload of Ethereum. This is gonna fucking go. Now, I am really surprised to see, this whole thing, because I was totally convinced. I thought, okay, you know, we're going to have this rotation of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to go, you know, something's going to happen, everything else. I don't know. Does it loosely follow Bitcoin? Does it lose value, etc.? That's not what we're seeing play out at all, though. You know, we're seeing this situation where Ethereum is just stronger than fucking Bitcoin. I can't tell you why. I don't know where it's going, but Ethereum looks fantastic. You know, I think we're going to see some good upside on Ethereum. And then too, if you draw that diagonal on just Ethereum USD, I mean, I think I like the structure on Ethereum more than I like the structure on Bitcoin right now. You know, both look great, but Ethereum has that diagonal break. It's got that throwback and retest. It looks prime, you know, to send. So we'll see what happens there.
I'm with you. And that coupled with the
look at that. That's clean.
The flag on ETH BTC. I don't think it's a bad idea to necessarily swap some.
I mean, look at that
Bitcoin for ETH.
Yeah, this right here. I need some Ethereum. I don't have any. If anything, like I need to do a rotator play of something into Ethereum, because even though part of me is like, okay, 2x is 84. It doesn't feel like a lot when I'm playing in the world that I'm playing in with the shitcoins that I roll with, but I'll still get incredible amounts of FOMO on the way up there, especially when you think of it in terms of risk, right? You're like, yeah, it may not 10x, but is it going to go to 0? No.
You know what makes me so excited about this is I want to be positioned. If I'm thinking about, like, I don't even think about it as the ETH BTC kind of pair anymore. I think about it as the L1, like the layer 1 BTC pair. And in terms of in the layer 1 mix, I want to be long Solana, AVAX, maybe Algo, who knows, against ETH. So if we really get send time on ETH, like that makes me want to geek, because I do think that the market value of the other layer 1s that I enjoy using a lot more, that I can actually stomach using, I think are going to rally relative to Ethereum. So it might be setting up. It might be too good to be true, but it feels really, really good right now for layer 1 investors. But
yeah, that's a good point about versus ETH. I don't do enough charting between pairs that I'm not actually trading. But you know, what am I going to sit in Avalanche if it's trending down while Ethereum breaks new highs? Like maybe I should be rotating a little bit for the week or for the month until this can reverse, and then I can. You know, imagine we get ETH breaking out. Okay, L1 party time, but versus Ethereum, some of my favorite L1s are going to go and hit their reload zones. Well, I can catch that rotation and then rotate right back in with more Avalanche or more whatever I like, right?
Yeah.
I got to pay more attention to these crosses because, I mean, look at Phantom. Phantom's crushing this month. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't have much Phantom.
Does anybody understand? So Phantom announced something along the lines, or maybe it was Binance, that they're having some kind of cloud, Binance cloud. What the fuck is what does that even mean? I'm just confused here.
I haven't heard of
what
that.
What is Binance cloud? Yeah, Harmony looks good.
Bring it up.
That might be a shoulders and handles.
It's
right
it's CZ's old servers that he wants to reappropriate, and so
Seifu.
Exactly.
Binance Cloud. It's a partnership with Amazon.
It looks like they're trying to do an AWS 2.0. Leverage the superior security, technology, and liquidity solutions of
Waiting
Binance.
for Justin Tron to come out and say, Binance Cloud, welcome to Tron Cloud.
Well, they have proven that. Didn't they have to like fire drill move
$10 million too?
Didn't they have to like fire drill move all their servers out of China back in the day? So like they prove they can move servers.
The story was that he was notified. CZ was notified on a Thursday, and by Sunday they had him all muled out of China by Sunday.
Right. So
you got to hand it to them. Binance moves fast. They definitely took a back seat, I think, to the hype for sure on our stream, at least around SBF and how fast he's moving more into the real world, perhaps with like even Ortiz now, most recent signing on their squad. But Binance, they're expanding. I mean, obviously when you have whatever they have, hundreds of billions, I would think at this point. Well, maybe that's aggressive, but at least up to 100.
I think they're going to end up in the dark web.
Really? You don't think they'll make it the mainstream finale?
No.
Not enough compliance or what?
I read
too late.
I read that I think they were raising or contemplating raising at a $300 billion valuation.
Oh, I wasn't too far off then. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I still remember Binance under $1, BNB under $1. That was when I learned about the idea of holding. I did well with that trade, but I think I flipped it at like 3x in 2017.
Yeah.
But sick.
Rob, you think
like their ICO was probably like 6,000x right now.
You think their perp volume is real?
Oh, I don't know.
5 times the size of like FTX.
Well, no, but remember when we talked to, it was one conversation we had with Sam where he said that they hands down have the most real volume, more than anyone. Like that was real. But I don't know how much of that is real, but he did. Remember, he said they do have the most real users.
Yeah.
Look at this chart and tell me what comes next. Like it's, I get it, guys. Like 2 days ago, yesterday, whenever that dump was, I was feeling it. I was like, oh shit, should I have been trimming more like 2 days ago when things were a little brighter on my portfolio? Yeah, like I feel that too. But objectively, you look at this chart, you're like, oh no, it's the top. Like it's weird.
I mean, maybe that fat finger was like was just a liquidity flush.
That's what I think. I mean,
whip out over lever any last over leverage because that looks bullish as fuck.
Can we pull up the CME
buyback
chart? Pull up the CME front month future chart. We've got an expiration tomorrow. We've got rolls now. Like we said it last week.
Yeah.
You got to start paying more attention to the CME hours and the CME futures. Now that the ETF's listed, you're going to see a lot of shenanigans there.
This is the continuous. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, that's it. I don't know when they flip it from Oct to Nov, the continuous, but it should be that one because I was thinking that too. Like,
yeah, current
weird
contract
shit can happen when we're rolling contracts. There's been a crazy amount of activity in the October-November spread there. The thing traded out to like $1,700, where November was trading over October, and that's because a lot of players were like front running the spread. They know that the ETF has to roll its October longs into November. So like, well, we're going to get long the November-October spread, or we'll get long November outright, whatever it is. And there can be a ton of what I call shenanigans in those contracts.
Somebody just says BTC's dumping. Show the volatility live. Yeah, nice 5-minute candle. This is really tough price action if you're trying to lever it short term. Look at that buyback again.
Which exchange is this that you're
This is FTX. I kind of live on FTX for volume. I like it the most, but they all look the same mostly.
Yeah.
What do you shop on? You kind of live on Coinbase charts, right?
I have a bond. Like I've got watch lists on TradingView where I try to put them all in there, and I try to look at them next to one another, and I think each of them kind of tells a different story a little bit. When people want to do size, they look at futures really, and I also like to see what's really going on in the like in the spot market, and see if there's any sort of weirdness. Because I still believe that one day we are going to see a spot coin squeeze where physical Bitcoin does not equal a derivative of Bitcoin.
Where it's going to trade at a premium because it'll be to actually own it, or no?
Yeah, where we're going to see weird shit. I mean, just some weirdness. Potentially a premium, potentially where there's issues getting spot coin to exchange because the big liquidity providers need to access real deeper cold storage coins. And I just think, yeah, we're going to see it one day. I don't know when. It could be a while, but that's my gut feeling. Maybe my hope, but I don't know.
I've never gotten into all that spread trading stuff. You've talked me through it a few times, but at the end of the day, I just like to watch you do it. And if you gave me a proper, like, hey, this is the play, do this now here, like maybe, but it's a little advanced for me, I'll be honest.
Well, that's the thing though. You never know if it's the play. You can really have a good feeling, but there's those classic stories where some of these big index funds, like there was the Goldman roll, where you knew, like in the agricultural futures, that 5 days Goldman was going to roll, and it took place over 5 days. And I remember some classic stories of when, whoever it was at Goldman or felt that the market makers were front running this thing too heavy, and they jammed it the other way, like in a big way. And
he's referring to the Goldman Sachs commodity index.
Yeah.
So every month they had a roll. And it was like in their documentation, so everybody knew within this window. They had this 5-day window ahead of like first notice or expiration that you had to. They had to roll their positions in like corn and soybeans and everything else.
Yep. So and we're gonna start seeing that same stuff in Bitcoin. They have to roll, right? I mean, if the ETF owns a certain amount of futures, eventually they got to roll that contract into the next month or the next quarterly, however they do it. And
when you say roll, give us like I'm a 5-year-old TLDR. What is a roll?
Okay, a roll is if, let's say you own the October future, and the October contract is going to expire on Friday. Well, at some point you need to roll that October long into a November long.
So if you want to stay long, you have to switch. Yeah.
Yeah. So to roll it, if there's all this money that owns the Bitcoin ETF, right? They're not selling their ETF. You have to roll the Bitcoin October future long into November. So you're buying November and selling October. So that's a roll. So you do that as a spread usually, which can be called just a calendar roll. And
so is that like an expect volatility moment for traders like us?
Well, we just saw it this week. So I think yes, 100%. It is expect volatility, especially right now when volume on CME futures has increased because you get more activity through this ETF, buying and selling throughout the day. So yes, I think we witnessed it this week.
So that you would attribute perhaps some of that October selling, end of selling, rolling is some of this sell-off here?
Well, it really depends on the positioning, right? Like if you were a market maker and you knew something was going to happen. Okay, this fund is going to roll its October into November. So it's going to be buying November, selling October. There's a couple ways you can try to get in front of that. You can get long the November-October spread, where literally you buy November, sell October, so that when they come in and do that, you're going to sell it to them higher.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of ratio different things. You can, because multiple months are trading, so you can maybe get long November outright and just say, okay, I know they're going to be coming in to buy this November, so I'm going to get long November. Doesn't mean you have to get short the October. So there's a few different ways to potentially play it based on your bias. And the one thing it does is it brings additional activity. And additional activity, it can bring a little bit of additional volatility.
So RT, if you type into TradingView, if you type in BTC V 2021 minus BTC X 2021, you'll see the October to November spread differential.
Is that? I did it verbatim. Is this the one you were thinking of visually?
No.
Not quite.
Let's see. Yeah, no, that's it. There you go.
Oh, that's it.
Yep.
So this is about premium. Like it's not going to move a ton. It's more like the difference between the two. So you shouldn't expect.
Yeah, you're trading the relationship of one to the other.
Okay.
And looking for that, like, what effectively, like, trying to understand what the yield is there, and then you're trading against like a midpoint. So trading, like spread trading, is really how futures are often traded. So anything that's got duration, there's a lot of correlation trading that's done like intra or inter-commodity.
Now, for you left curvers who are watching the show right now, well, I feel very much like one when I hang out with Rob and Dan all the time. I just want to share, we've got the options trader up on the screen. This is my life when I hang out with Rob and Dan. And if you guys are watching this saying, man, this stuff's way too advanced, like show me some shitcoins. But look, this is who you're trading against. You know, these guys robbed in like that whole the spread trader, the farming yield out of futures options contracts. Like, it can be uncomfortable sometimes when you sit and think that's who's on the other side of that trade I just got busted out of. I just like to be a fly on the wall and listen to you guys talk. So I'll back into the hedge here.
Yeah, no, that's the exciting part of it for the trader is that the futures backed ETF in the US, it just brings a lot more players and a lot more eyeballs to the CME futures, and we've seen it. Open interest skyrocketed, just volume. So that's good. Hopefully it brings more liquidity, right? I mean, you want, in the end, we all want to be able to buy and sell bigger amounts of Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures with the least amount of slippage. So the more liquidity in there, the more eyeballs, then technically we should be able to trade it more efficiently. And I mean, this thing is volatile today. Like, this thing's moving.
Bitcoin. Yeah. You're talking about the futures contract?
Everything about it. Spot, futures. It's all really kind of the same until it's not.
I mean, this is right up there with like some of that nasty BitMEX Darth Maul stuff. I mean, imagine trying to be long off these lows, you're washed, and then imagine trying to short the squeeze up. Well, you just got washed if you're hiding your stops up here. So again, it's not ever, I think, ideal to sit and trade on leverage if you're out here, regular Joe Schmo like myself and these guys. Like, if you're just coming in like, hey, I'd like to explore crypto, leverage is probably not the way. And today, anyone who is thinking I'm going to go against that and just give it a shot might have got rinsed, which sucks, because if you're just out doing your thing and you're holding some spot Bitcoin, I mean, it's up and it's looking really good. So for those of you like myself who have lost money on leverage and decided it's not for me, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't learned,
leverage is actually like best used when you have yield opportunities,
like the funding plays. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
like hold spot and short.
Not in like
funding?
a when genius failed type of way where you think it's like free money until it's not, and then you get liquidated. But like, I think some of the things, I mean, like, Messi's definitely discussed quite a few of these, and really kind of the DeFi lending plays and the things that have been created around like Abracadabra and MIM and Curve, and just, there's so many cool, I feel like that is like the most underrated part of crypto, right? That and derivatives, because I think once people really start to understand options and even future, like how to trade duration in futures, like that's really where yield ultimately generates from. And it's such a fat pitch, and like people want to just like pump long Shiba and hope for the best. Like the real play to me is like, how do I get 25% on my USDC or on my stables, and figure out how to get some leverage on that, like
looping on Abra. That's something I
holding all that stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, I see we're mentioning Abra. There's some pretty, in my opinion, insane news regarding MIM, or Magic Internet Money, and that is the decentralized stable coin of Abracadabra, and that is that MIM is now a base pair asset on Bitfinex, which is, in my opinion, quite the achievement. We haven't seen these decentralized stable coins be listed as base pair assets. Somebody corrected me and said, well, UST, which is the algorithmic stablecoin in the Terra Luna ecosystem, is a base pair asset on KuCoin or KuCoin, however you pronounce it. But I mean, MIM as a base pair asset on Bitfinex, that's pretty fucking big, in my opinion. I think that's huge. So interesting development for today.
Yeah.
it's a particularly huge nod because it's coming on Bitfinex, which is sort of like the father of Tether, is it not? I mean, they're the parent company to Tether, or whatever way that relationship goes. So for them to say like, hey, we see you, we like you, and here's our hedge bet, we're going to start doing min pairs. I mean, that's pretty dope. Spell likes it. Look at this, consolidation, confirmed bullish market structure, breakout, retest, closed bullish, and now we're off. So Spell looks really good, and that's
what's the the circulating market cap on
for MIM or for Spell?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe like 1.3, 1.4 billion. At this point, Abracadabra and other isolated CDPs are getting a lot of attention right now. Because of we had this massive cream hack yesterday, I believe. We're $100 million.
Biggest one in history, right?
It was huge.
MIM is ranked 69, by the way. Sorry, just gotta make sure that's
nice.
that we got that.
Nice.
We hit 69.
Nice. But you know what? The issue here is that when you have long tail assets, these are assets that are maybe the lower market cap, higher risk, higher volatility assets, and you have these assets and a CDP that to where the risk hasn't been isolated to that one vault. It's a huge issue because people can come in and if they're able to exploit just one weak asset in the system somehow, then they're able to drain the entire system. They're able to exploit the entire system. And if we're looking at systems, like that, that are open to exploitation, we're looking at things like Compound, Cream, Aave, and this kind of Gen 2 of DeFi lending products has isolated risk, which is interesting because, I can come in and I can exploit the weakest asset. But the idea here is that, the weaker assets, you won't have as large of a minting allocation as the stronger assets. So the system is not infallible, but you can come in and, if you were able to exploit one of the vaults on Abracadabra, only that vault would be affected. You're not going to affect any of the other collateral in the system, period.
Well, that's good to know.
So with Cream, things like that happening, and it brings a lot of attention and, to these DeFi 2.0 lending protocols, and the safety advantages, that these protocols offer. Obviously,
Savage.
This sucks. It's not a good look for DeFi. For anybody that was affected by that, I feel for you. It's being rugged like that, being hacked. It's never a fun experience. I do have a lot of confidence in the Cream team. Hopefully they are able to rectify this in some shape, form, or fashion.
Fifth time in what, 1 year? That sucks.
Happened a lot. It's happened a lot.
I don't know dev stuff, so I can't sit here and say, do better, but that's a really bad feeling, I can imagine, on their part, and kind of a rough look. Based on, for example, we spoke to Daniela, the Spell founder, the ICE Popsicle Finance. He talked about the hack, how it affected him, and how he's moved forward, different and stronger. And I think that's, it's what you kind of hope for, that it would max at 1. But DeFi is a human experiment, a financial experiment, and nobody knows how it's going to end, how these things are going to develop. And every time there's an exploit or a hack, there's new code, there's new bug found, and it moves and gets stronger.
Which is why there's opportunity there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the time this is perfect and humming and all these bugs have been discovered and the exploits are gone, you're probably getting a worse interest rate, and you're probably not getting the same asymmetric risk. So it's kind of why we're here, but it's also our greatest fear.
Where's Spell gonna go? What's your what's the chaos number? What's your guys' calls on this? What's the top of this run?
I mean, look, of course we've got targets and chaos numbers and all that, and they have been pretty fucking accurate thus far in this bull run. I'm just going to say, from a fundamental perspective, having this as this base pair asset on Bitfinex, the stablecoin there, is such a huge nod of approval, a nod of adoption that we've really never seen before in the decentralized stablecoin space. So just from my perspective, I'm really bullish Spell. I'm holding my Spell. I don't know where the fuck this is going. What if, because back in the day, DeFi summer, all that, Aave was $30. and it went nuts. It went to almost $1,000. Like I couldn't have looked at Aave and $30 and said, this is going to be the bluest of blue chips one day. It's going to have, $20 billion TVL, $30 billion TVL, whatever it's at right now, the most respected, most trusted, blah, blah, blah. And now we're in this situation where the fuck is Spell going? It almost seems surreal. I know it's a fantastic product. It has that kind of meme coin aspect to it, which is so important, when you're trying to build these cult communities. It's fun. It's a very useful product. It has a lot of utility. And especially, the narrative right now, the regulatory climate. People are scared of USDC, of USDT. They're looking for alternatives. I think that this could have legs. Now, I don't know where it goes. I don't know where it ends up, but I think I'm going to be surprised by it.
I think it would be worth it just for, assuming this is not a purely Frog Nation audience, can you just kind of take a step back and give everybody the top down of MIM, Spell, Abra? Sure.
I mean, the easiest way to explain this, and because I'm sure everybody here listening has probably heard of MakerDAO. Now, MakerDAO, they were the pioneers, as far as I know, of the decentralized stablecoin. That decentralized stablecoin is DAI. The joke, though, is that DAI kind of ended up becoming wrapped USDC in the regard that, and here's how the CDP, which is a collateralized debt position, here's how that works. Let's say I've got $1 million worth of Ethereum, and I want to maintain my directional exposure to that Ethereum. What I can actually do is I can go to MakerDAO, and I can, deposit my $1 million worth of Ethereum into a vault, and I can mint DAI that's secured by that collateral. Okay, so maybe mint $300,000 worth of DAI. And that's fantastic. Now I've still got that directional exposure. I've got my DAI. I can go farm with it. I can do whatever, right? But until I pay that back, that Ethereum remains locked up as collateral in the system. So the issue with that, of course, is, hey, you can come in and mint DAI with USDC. And now you run into a situation where DAI is collateralized or backed by WBTC, WETH, this, that, all of these other assets that have their own liquidity and whatever. And it's backed by a shitload of USDT or USDC and Tether. Look, it's a risk to the entire system.
So you're talking about that it has systemic, like basically the quality of the asset. Are you saying that because the quality of the asset?
Well, I'm basically just saying, what is the point of DAI now? We're aiming to be this decentralized stablecoin. What's even the fucking point of it if it's like 40-50% backed by USDC?
Right. Why not just not do the same thing with USDC?
Because here's the thing, I can do the same thing with USDC and have potentially less of that systemic risk. So it just, we're in a situation where DAI just doesn't make much sense anymore, and that's where Abracadabra comes in. To the picture. We've got these isolated CDPs, which, as we described earlier, offer this increased level of protection, against events like we saw happen in Cream yesterday. And with MIM is aiming to be something that does a better job than MakerDAO. They're trying to be MakerDAO 2.0, a cross-chain MakerDAO, if you will. And the advantage here is that, hey, we can come in and, we can establish MIM, or Magic Internet Money, which is hilarious, in its own regard. We can establish liquidity on every chain, through some kind of bootstrapping mechanism. And then you can then seamlessly move liquidity from chain to chain to chain to chain to chain. It doesn't matter where they are. And if you listen to, what Daniela was saying a couple of days ago, he's actually just hired 5 Rust engineers. They're going to build out on Solana. They're going to build out on Terra. They want to be everywhere. They want to abolish the boundaries between EVM and non-EVM and allow seamless value transfer between all chains. The idea here with MIM, or Spell Abracadabra, is not that, hey, we want to, continue moving forward with this DeFi 1.0 narrative. It's that with DeFi 2.0, we don't have these boundaries. It's about the protocols. It's about value transfer. It's about being able to operate, being able to bank yourself. So MIM, the stablecoin of Abracadabra, is the DAI of this system. I can come in just like I could with Maker DAO. And the interesting thing with MIM, most of the assets that are collateralized are interest-bearing assets. What this means is that the assets themselves have the interesting quality is these assets are appreciating in value, or at least they're growing while you've borrowed against them. So I can have my Ethereum. I can take this Ethereum and deposit it into Yearn. So now I'm getting 3-4 whatever percent, APR on that per year. And then I take that, Yearn Vault collateralized Ethereum. I take that token and I use it as collateral in this Abracadabra system, and I can mint MIM against that. So that's what MIM is. MIM aims to be a better version of DAI, and they take the lessons that we've learned over the last year, and they have built those lessons into this product.
So instead of going and saying, okay, I'm going to deposit USDC and get some DAI, we're taking LP tokens, we're taking Yearn Vault positions,
yes.
3 pool stuff.
And look, Abra MIM is partially collateralized by USDC.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because of the 3 pool, right?
But the thing is it's okay to have a little bit of collateralization on a decentralized CDP-based stablecoin that is USDC. That is this, that are these stablecoins. But the important thing here is that it's not 40%. It's not 50%.
Should be
whatever
like
it is.
5.
So good question in the audience. Somebody asked, why was the S spell, which is the staked spell pool, depreciated? The answer to that is Degen box, deprecate, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so Degen box, which is basically bento box with some of the restrictions removed, which is what Abra is based on right now, has gone live on Ethereum. And when you actually, with S spell, stake spell, there's a time lock when you stake that spell. The issue there is that time lock disallows your ability to actually leverage that position, get more yield on that position via their looping mechanism, which is also commonly referred to as folding. I'm going to deposit, I'm going to borrow against it. Then I take that, what I borrowed against it, I'm going to deposit that as more collateral. I'm going to borrow more against that. You can fold through the system a couple of times to gain leverage in a CDP position. You couldn't do that with S spell. And there were other things you couldn't do that for as well. So the new vault is based on this Degen box. And it's on spell, because in the future, you're going to be able to run strategies to where you could say, I want to leverage and deposit to stake spell. All in one click, and it will allow that to happen, whereas that couldn't happen in the past. That's my understanding of why the S spell or stake spell vault has been deprecated, and why this is the new paradigm.
Which had to do with the lockup, right? You go to stake your spell, it's locked for 24 hours, and that messed up the code around all that, right?
Correct.
So spell's a little more fungible, or whatever the word is.
Degen box just opens the doors for them to kind of run alternative strategies at the user's discretion on the back end. For example, like what I just described. So I don't know more examples of this or more ways that this could be applied, but the idea here is that it really just kind of blows the doors off for what's possible. And knowing these guys and knowing how they innovate, I'm sure they're going to think of some cool things. Now, my question about it, though, and what I'm waiting for is, just altering this bento box, by opening the doors, by removing some of the training wheels, if you will, on bento box and deploying this Degen box, does that introduce additional risk to the system? And I would imagine that that's something that's evaluated. I would imagine that, with the current market capitalization of this, with Bitfinex feeling confident enough to list MIM as a base pair asset, that you've had some really, really good eyes, double, triple checking the security of, Bento Box and these isolated CDPs. Now, Bento Box wasn't originally made famous via Abracadabra. Abracadabra, had the developer of Bento Box, that's Boring Crypto, absolute legend, actually custom build out Bento Box for this application, for Magic Internet Money. Bento Box was originally conceived as a way to offer leverage on your positions at SushiSwap, which, was battle tested, tons of TVL audits, et cetera, et cetera. But, really, really interesting. If you want to dive deep into that, the rabbit hole goes very deep.
It sure does.
This is why I love hanging out with you, bro, because you ask one good question about Abra or any of this stuff, and I know you, bro. You'll nerd out with me for hours.
I'm about that nerd
talking stuff, and that's what I need. I haven't folded anything. I haven't used the leverage here. I have borrowed against some assets. I have messed around with the MIM, but this is me right here with you guys live, getting into DeFi just the same. I'm a CEX. I'm a CEX. Let's clarify. I'm a sex boy. I'm a CEX trader. I love the shit coins. I like a little bit of leverage, but this is new to me, and frankly, it's right where my end game is, which is getting into more conservative, yield bearing plays. Like, yeah, you're leveraging something here, but it might be 2 or 3x on stable coins.
I think you need to talk about both sides of the risk slide there.
For sure. That's why I haven't touched the leverage here, because I don't understand it fully. And,
right.
I don't like the idea of losing something because I tried to go for more, right?
Leverage
so I live in spot.
Risky, okay? Yeah. But one of the unique things about folding, as long as you're responsible about it and you don't just lever up like a total fucking ape, the interesting characteristic about this is that final fold on that final loop, they're not letting you extract MIM from the system on that final loop. If you want to leverage this, that final borrow, right, actually goes straight back into the system as collateral. And the interesting characteristic this introduces is leverage can actually lower your liquidation price because of that. Something interesting. Look,
that's next level, yeah.
If you're interested in playing with this, I am levered up. Like, for example, on my 3 curve, which is an LP position consisting of USDT, USDC, and DAI, I'm really, really levered up, and my liquidation price on that is around 90 cents. But that's on stable coins, right?
Yeah.
So we would either need, basically, and this is just rough napkin math. I know this isn't the exact numbers, so don't burn me at the stake for this. You would need like either Tether, DAI, or USDC to depeg like 30% and be worth 70 cents, which would be horrific for the entire ecosystem.
Not
right?
just one.
Or just one of them to depeg around 30%, or all of them to depeg around 10%. Would also be something where
I've seen
getting liquidated on that.
I remember seeing Tether dip to like 77 cents one time. It was during one of the ridiculous, March COVID or something. I remember because the guys in TRI were like, "Oh my God, there goes the stable coin," quote unquote. But it was like it lasted 10 minutes. I'd be curious to know what the response time is on Abra. Again though, everyone likes to say like, "Oh, you'd have bigger problems," which is true. I don't know if that makes me feel any better. But I have been waiting to get some 3-pool exposure just to kind of like shadow you and try to follow that play because I like it. And look, to Dan's point about seeing both sides of this, there is no reason to go into something new like this and say, "Hey, I've got $10,000. I'm going to put $9,000 to work in a new strategy." Like, managing risk is not just sizing down possible loss on a play, but it's really about learning what the hell you're doing. And so for me, if I was going to jump into 3-pool, I would take 0.5%. 0.25% of my portfolio, put it in there for a week, like look at the data, look at the returns, try repaying it. What does that look like? What are the fees? Collect data on a micro play.
Factors. Like know what you have. Messi's clear that like some type of systemic event that could drive one of, drive Tether down to 70 cents puts his position at risk of liquidation. So like that's okay. He's going to go into it knowing that is probably the in the pool of the unlikely events, it's the highest probability like thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So he'll weight his risk accordingly, and he's a big boy, So,
but yeah, and that's the key. I think that's the key. This is anytime you get into, first of all, DeFi, new products. This thing's been out 6 months. I feel really good about it based on Danny being behind it. I feel like the human element is there, and now it's just about managing risk, systemic risk, and obviously Messi's gone through his risk tolerance first of all, and then the parameters that would throw him overboard.
And he's a pro. He's been doing this for I
mean, for most people, leverage is just going to be a bad idea, right? But if you do feel like you understand what you're doing and you can understand, what risks may come with that,
that's right.
Then it is fun to play around with. But look, Abra on Ethereum is very expensive. Ethereum's gas costs are very high. You can look forward to Degen Box, which is their fork of Bento Box being deployed on other blockchains. They've got the Rust engineers on staff, which means that Degen Box is going to be coming fucking everywhere. So if you are interested in this and you don't want to be, especially during your experimental phase, paying all that Ethereum gas, whatever, doesn't matter what fucking chain you're on. If you're on Avalanche or Solana or Luna, or it doesn't fucking matter. You can wait until it's cheaper for you to play around with, and in the meantime, you can use that time to educate yourself and figure out maybe some strategy you're interested in running, and if it's something for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 40% on stables is a nice target for me to, it's worth it for me to go and dip my toes in here and learn it. So it's been on my list for weeks. I'm slacking.
Well, really, look, the magic of Abracadabra isn't, especially in the stable side, it's not necessarily in the bull market, because right now, if I look hard enough, I can find 20, 30%, maybe even more in my stables without the leverage. Okay. I just can, you can do that.
Yeah.
In the bear market though, when the yield sucks, the yield's absolute trash, what this is going to allow you to do is lever up those positions and still get a respectable yield on your positions.
Yeah. And soon with Popsicle launching, it'll be like levered LPs, which is a whole other can of worms that we should talk about when it's live, I think.
Crazy.
We're going to have Danny back on here for sure at some point, and we can have him break down what the heck that even means. But I'm excited. And on that note, we should just take a quick peek over at ICE. I think they're really close to launching. They said about a week ago. So I figure it's any day right now. But, from this pivot to the latest leg, we got a little PCC tag, volume generally trending higher. A little bit of rollover here as we get into the no man's land of pre-launch. But if you're able to LP, Uniswap V3 at an optimal strategy, and then you're able to leverage that, I just think it's going to be attractive. So if you all didn't know, I'm super bullish on Popsicle V2. So that's coming up soon. Look, guys, we're at an hour and a half in. Do you guys have any final thoughts visually, chart-wise, before we flip back to studio as we wrap up this week? Things to keep an eye on?
I just think like this is I'll say one thing. Like I think these are things that if you're a part of crypto that you need to be learning, and don't think that it's too late. These are some of the edges that are going to carry you like through when you have a bear market as well.
I'm edging.
Yeah.
I think that's one, and two is which is somewhat tangential to this, is learning options and other product types to be trading that all kind of fit into concepts of yield extraction and hedging and other ways to kind of manage what it is that you're doing. So.
De-risk, at some point.
Or add risk, but do it smart.
Yeah, add or remove risk. But I think, and this is, me getting into it too, and that's a really good point. When we all started, right, it was like, oh, I have some dollars. I'm going to get into crypto. What do I buy? I'm long. And if you're fortunate enough to join at the right time or get in the right stuff, you can increase your dollar stack. But at some point, you got to secure the bag and maintain. And if anyone who's been through more than one cycle will tell you, if you could have just lived through that downturn, like for example, May, if you sold in May and walked away and then started getting greedy in July, it's exponentially more beneficial for the next run. So my homework the last few months has been learning DeFi. AVAX allowed me to do that with the cheaper transactions. I was less, pissed off because it's like 6 cents. Oh, undo it, 6 cents, no big deal. $400 transactions. It was hurting my brain. So I'm getting into it, but I'm very much like student mode, I think, when it comes to DeFi at this point. So, yeah, I really appreciate that thought, Dan. And as final thoughts from Rob, I always like to throw you that curveball at the end. It's like, hit us with your best. What do you got?
It's something I've talked about before, but it's not that I'm dumpster diving, because this is not dumpster type of stuff. But
good people.
I am still looking at some names that showed me that they could run and run hard and run fast, that maybe are lagging a little bit here. And if I do some research, if I like kind of fundamentally what's going on with some of these things, these are some names that I like to kind of take some shots with.
What do you like? Hit me with them.
You know, one that I was looking at, and it's funny because, you know, when me and you and Nick were talking a while back, it was a name that technically you guys liked being short when it was only like 72 cents, but there was some unlock stuff, but it's Theta Network.
Oh yeah, and we were shorting Theta for a while.
Remember? And you guys, like, it was a good setup, and I think you actually like made money on the short from like 72 cents to 58 cents. And you know, it
was here. I was trying to short it here. And we did scalp it a bit, but yeah, obviously we're on the wrong side of the big trend.
But the one thing about Theta, like, to me, is what it showed me, and this is like decentralized video from an ex-Google guy who was there for the YouTube stuff. I don't know. I mean, but the bottom line is it's
in the reload zone.
It's more than, it's like 2.5x off its highs. So I look for stuff that if we do see a sustained rally here, what might catch a real sharp bid where, you know, maybe you can really get a good ride. You know, that's one of them. Another one that is kind of, I've got radars going off because I've heard about it from a couple of traditional finance guys and just, I don't know, it's like kind of that feeling almost like deja vu in the Matrix where it's just too coincidental. You're hearing it from different angles, and that's Thorchain. Yeah, I heard from two separate kind of normie type TradFi guys that they had heard a couple of, you know, in the know people were really bullish on it, really thought it could do something. We saw the you know, the devastation that like exploits could do, and Thorchain got exploited. I think the second one was really kind of in a bad time, and that thing traded down to like maybe $2.50, $2.70. Granted,
look at the buyback though. Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one that,
I mean, someone loaded up.
There's some people that really, really believe in what they're doing in terms of the swapping and the, you know, having real assets, not wrapped assets. You know, I would lean on Daniel more for the technical piece of this, but I'm basically looking for stuff like that could be 2 times off its all-time high. If we start seeing stuff pop off, then, you know, I'm looking
at that chart. Bro, look at that chart. You're talking my language. You're talking PCZ after a volume breakout from the reload zone. That's Thorchain. And then over on Theta was just sitting in the reload zone, having kind of quietly passed through the big downtrend. So any pop there is a nice dip to buy on the next one. 2 big names, Rune and Theta, on Rob's radar this week.
And that's just on my radar because it's stuff that I'm thinking about. I'm not telling you to buy it, to sell it, to do it. It's just
I never buy. You know, I regrettably, there's a lot of things on here that we share and talk about, and it's not a show to come and, you know, what are your picks? Because we probably talked about 40 coins today. Like, good luck. But I always like your color that you put on it because it's not just chart based. I do a lot of chart based. Or echoes, you know, grab an echo narrative.
Yeah.
But okay, so in your world, Theta and Rune are popping up. I'm going to take a look at those maybe a little more closely this week. Can can't argue with the volume on Rune though. At the lows, after 2 exploits and like monstrous volume coming in, and that was like late July, just as we bought them. So interesting.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us today. I don't know if like I zoomed in our faces. We all just have these like big bobbleheads today, but I did have to rebuild the set. So have a wonderful day. I'd just like to point out before I didn't want to jinx it earlier, but stream was smooth. Talk to you guys today.
I did want to say one thing really quick, RT.
If we crash while you're talking, I jinxed it.
Hopefully
and fuck
not.
yourself.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Go ahead.
But somebody did ask a question that I can answer really quickly, and I said I would. And they asked, in my opinion, what's the main difference between something like time and something like the difference between these two things are the reserve assets. If you look at time is mostly backed by Avalanche native assets. They've got a lot of time verse, AVAX LP. They've got, of course, MIM there, the stable coin. They've got some raw AVAX tokens. If you look at Ohm, it's more backed by Ethereum-based assets. So, really moving forward, the main differences are going to express themselves in the performance of those reserve assets, which outperforms. As well as how the projects can continue to diverge and differentiate from one another, which is something that I believe is ongoing as well. So I hope that answers your question, and that's all I've got.
And Dan, what's your final thought on the day?
Yeah, guys. So just to go back to when we talked about Hxro earlier, make sure to go to hxro.network, hxro.network. You can go to markets and pull down parimutuel. You'll see parimutuel DevNet Alpha. Definitely get in there and test it out for us. You could go into our the Hxro Network Discord channel if you haven't joined that yet, and make sure to drop notes and more on Hxro related items coming in the next couple weeks. Roadmap, staking, liquidity incentives, all of it. So
nice.
Make sure to stay tuned.
Hxro Network, bringing DeFi. I love it. And it's a Solana play now, for real. There's a DevNet live on Solana. That's exciting.
It is.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up here. We got almost a full 2 hours today with the full squad. It's been a long time, and I loved it, every minute of it. If you guys haven't yet, like the video. I see all 260 of you. Thanks for coming by. Don't forget to hit us with a like, a sub, all the good stuff. And I'll be back on Friday afternoon or morning. Might pull a morning sesh for Hxro Labs Live, and we can dive into the grease on the charts, into the DeFi stuff. Bring your questions, bring your drinks, and we'll see you there. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. And whatever you do from now until next time, always play from a position of strength.